Hello, everybody. War Wizard here. Just wanted to do a video today talking about why I love Gears of War. I've said it in past videos. Some of my Mortal Kombat videos, I talked about how Gears of War is probably my second favorite video game franchise. And with the release of E-Day coming soon, and with my last video, I talked about um, how I wanted to integrate Gears of War content onto my channel and do both Mortal Kombat and Gears. Maybe I'll put some other games in there as I grow. Um, if you watch my last video, I talk about why I don't really want to play Mortal Kombat 1 right now anymore. I'm not going to get into that right now. So, let's talk about Gears of War. How it all started, I was in my freshman year of high school, and both of my friends were not there that day. Um, it was around March, I think. Yeah, it was around March. And in the library, after I ate lunch, I went to the library, and they had electronic magazine. They had Xbox magazine, and they had Game Informer. And I remember Game Informer had a Gears of War piece in it, talking to Cliff Bleszinski, the then creator of Gears of War. And I remember, because my friends weren't there and I was bored, I was in the library reading that. And the Gears of War article and the way Cliff Bleszinski was describing Gears of War just immediately jumped out to me, caught my attention. I was reading it, and I remember him talking about how they wanted to do like a gripping, dark, gritty campaign. And then he was talking about the multiplayer and the way they were doing their like gore system and stuff like that. And he was talking about how, Call of Duty and stuff and Halo, when you get sniped, you kind of get pissed off. But in Gears of War, he wanted to make it so where if you get sniped, and the way he described it, I remember it so clearly. He said, in other games, when you get sniped or whatever, you kind of get pissed. But in Gears of War, they wanted to make it where you'll be disappointed, but at the same time, you'll be like, oh man, that was a good shot, because it'll literally blow your head into pieces. He said the popping sound, which we all know by now is iconic, and when your head explodes, you're kind of like, oh man, but at the same time, you're like, whoa, that was really cool. Like, my head just exploded, and you see the pieces of the skulls and stuff laying around. I thought that was such a cool description. And at the time, there wasn't really other shooting games that were doing that. I mean, Unreal Tournament, but Unreal Tournament, if you headshot someone, their head just kind of popped off and bounced around. And the way he was describing Gears of War, I was so excited for this game, for the first Gears of War. I remember, because my birthday is April 3rd, and I was reading this article in March. I can't remember exactly when Gears of War 1 came out. Let me look it up. So November 7th. Okay, so no, it wasn't my birthday. Yeah, it was my birthday. So for Christmas, we didn't get Gears of War. So I waited for my birthday, and I begged my parents, pleaded with them, get me an Xbox 360 and get me Gears of War. I just want Gears of War. They ended up getting us an Xbox 360 around January, February, when we got tax money. And then I remember just asking for Gears of War. I wanted it so badly. We finally got it. I got it for my birthday. I know it's late because it came out in November, but I got it for my birthday. Me and my brother immediately played it that night. We stayed up all night playing Gears of War campaign. At the time, even though the main thing that Cliff Blazinski was talking about was the multiplayer in that article, we weren't really big into multiplayer back then. Our parents didn't really get internet that often, and if they did, we didn't have an Xbox 360 that had the Wi-Fi adapter on it. So we would have to bring it upstairs, and you know how parents are. They're watching TV up there and stuff like that. So whenever we would bring it upstairs, it would have to be when they were gone, or we would have to ask and beg. So we rarely played Gears of War multiplayer, except for when friends came over. We did System Link sometimes. We just played the campaign all the time. We played it on normal, then hard, then insane. Me and my brother just fell in love with Gears of War. I immediately became attached with Marcus. My little brother became attached to Dom. I also like Dom, and my brother liked Marcus, but those are the two characters we played. I played Marcus, he played Dom. The game was so good. And so my friends showed me Halo. They showed me Battlefield. I found Call of Duty on my own with Call of Duty Finest Hour on PlayStation 2, and I kind of followed Call of Duty from there. But Gears of War was the game that I was telling all my friends about. Have you played Gears of War? No, I haven't. No, I haven't. I would have them come over, or I would take the game over to their house and show them. And they all fell in love with it. Like, I think Halo is the only sci-fi game that I really, really liked. I'm not too much of a sci-fi guy, even though Gears of War is kind of sci-fi-ish. But post-apocalyptic is like my thing. And the dark, gritty, violent stuff. I love zombie games, Left 4 Dead, Mortal Kombat, dark and violent. So Gears of War was right up my alley. That was my game that I was showing everybody. The atmosphere, it was kind of horror-ish. When we were younger, the first time we seen a berserker, my dad to this day talks about how he would hear us downstairs yelling and screaming, "Watch out, watch out, oh my god," playing against the berserker. Also the tank for Left 4 Dead. My dad remembers that, but that's besides the point. It was just such a good game, I remember we were obsessed with how the graphics were back then. We would walk under the water, and the water would bounce off your head. Like the water actually interacted with you. Which we were like, wow, this is amazing, graphics can't get much better than this. The weapons, the Lancer is now an iconic video game weapon. The sniper, the way the headshots sounded, that of course the Gnasher shotgun is probably the best shotgun in video game history. Some people would say maybe the Halo shotgun or something like that, but the Gears shotgun, Gears multiplayer is like 70-75% about the Gnasher. Sick wall bouncing and stuff. But anyway, Gears of War 1. The story immediately, grabbed a hold of us. We were so into it. We loved the cover-based shooting. I wasn't really familiar with wall bouncing at the time because, like I said, this was, before we were really into the internet and stuff. I would get on the computer sometimes and watch, some YouTube videos on Gears. But I wasn't really, aware of the wall bouncing and stuff like that. And Gears of War quickly became one of me and my brother's favorite games of all time. Gears of War 2, we realized was coming out. And my brother's birthday is in November, and that's when Gears of War 2 was coming out. So my brother, and I'm not going to lie, me along with him, were very excited. He was asking for Gears of War 2, and then I remember, I don't know if you guys remember X-Play on G4. They did this whole deep dive into Gears of War 2 on one episode, and they announced bots, AI bots. Me and my brother were through the roof excited. Because, like I said, we didn't really have multiplayer back then, or internet. So to be able to play against AI bots was like the coolest thing to us, because we got to play multiplayer besides, just us 1v1ing each other, or my friends, coming over to do System Link. Sorry, but so we were very excited about that, but then also the campaign. Very interested in that. We got even more attached to Marcus and Dom in Gears of War 2. Seeing, Dom's pain of him losing his wife and stuff like that. Um, and just, I remember we played the campaign a ton. That's when they first did the Horde mode. The Horde mode was kind of bare bones back then. I wasn't the biggest fan of it back then. And then we put so many hours against the AI bots. Like, just tons and tons of hours against the bots. We were constantly playing multiplayer versus the bots. We would play by ourselves against the bots, It was just so fun. It was great that a game like that had that at the time for people who didn't really have internet. About halfway through Gears of War 2's life cycle, we started getting internet. We had internet consistently, and we would bring our TV upstairs, put it on the kitchen table, hook up the Xbox, and we would play online a little bit. That's when I first started learning about wall bouncing. But again, we didn't play online multiplayer that much. And just the story and the lore of Gears of War. There was so much deep lore from little things that Cliff Bleszinski brought up, like the Pendulum Wars. It was kind of like how in the 70s when Luke brought up to Obi-Wan, oh, you fought in the Clone Wars, and immediately everyone was like, the Clone Wars? That's what it was like with Gears of War when they brought up the Pendulum Wars. It was like, what's that? And E-Day and stuff like that. They explain a little bit what E-Day is, but there was just so much lore. Like, what are the Locusts? Where are they from? What is the Pendulum Wars? It just sucked us in. Me, a little more so. I was the more... I'll get to that later, but I was a little more competitive in Gears of War. My brother was more about the co-op and story and stuff. I mean, we played Gears of War 2 so much against the bots and stuff. And like I said, the story, the atmosphere, the graphics. Gears of War at the time, I feel like, had the best graphics. I did like Halo. I will say that. I do love Halo. But Gears was more my game. Halo was more, we played a lot of Halo, System Link, and stuff like that. We didn't really get into Halo multiplayer until Reach. But Gears was my game. I always preferred Gears. And then Gears of War 3 is my personal favorite. That's one of my all-time favorite games. One, we went to the midnight release for it, and they had, we were talking to people about it. The atmosphere was so excited. Gears of War 3 is coming. I can't wait. And then we had consistent internet at that time. So I was playing a lot of multiplayer. That's when I really, really got heavy into Gears multiplayer. Got really good at wall bouncing. Me and my best friend at the time constantly played Gears of War 3. Like, we got so good at it. My KD was like a 2.8 or something like that. We were playing ranked all the time. We reached the highest rank. We were just playing it all the time. And I'm not going to lie, me and my brother did play against the AI and stuff, but me and my brother were mostly playing campaign and Horde. Because, like I said, my brother, he was more into the Call of Duty at the time. He was younger. Call of Duty is no easy pick-up to play game. He was more into Call of Duty multiplayer than he ever was Gears of War multiplayer. Once, he didn't like the idea of, like, the wall bouncing and stuff. He just could never get used to it. So the Horde mode in Gears of War 3 was vastly improved from Gears 2. The fact that you can put down, walls and stuff like that was way better, way cooler. Like I said, Gears 2 Horde was very bare bones. The Beast mode was awesome. Very underrated mode. They should have never taken it away. Loved Gears of War 3. That was my personal favorite campaign, even though it had the saddest moments. Spoiler alert. So if you don't want to hear the spoiler, if you haven't played the Gears games, I would click off now or fast forward. That's when Dom dies. That impacted me and my brother because we loved Marcus and Dom so much. I remember Dom died, and me and my brother's jaw were just basically on the floor. We could not believe it. We were like, no way, no way. It affected us so much that we stopped playing Gears 3 for like a week. And then finally, one day, my brother was like, you want to just, go start playing Gears 3 again? And I was like, yeah, if you want. I remember my brother saying, this better, I better be either not Dom, Cole, Baird, or maybe Anya. And then they made him Jace. My brother was so pissed because at the time Jace was a new character. We've never seen Jace before. Why are we? And they made him Jace, and he was so pissed about that. He's like, "Why am I not Cole? Why am I not Baird? Even I would even take Anya at this point because they've been there through all the games. So why are we playing as Jace?" My brother was so pissed about that. But we finished the game. Uh, Loved it. It was such a great ending. I mean, Dom dying was very sad, but it was a perfect ending. We went through all that, fought back, defeated the Locust. It was so, rewarding and fulfilling. That was such a perfect ending. Uh, we finally got to see a Carmine survive, and it being the coolest Carmine, Clayton. Clayton Carmine, he was the most badass for sure. Back to the Gears of War 3 multiplayer. I played it religiously. I think I have more time just in cover on Gears of War 3 than I have combined playtime on Gears 5. I'll get into Gears 5 later, but the thing about Gears, the original trilogy, was like this sense of camaraderie, and just the dark, gritty atmosphere, the violence. I mean, I know that sounds stupid, people, oh, just violence, but it was immersive, It was just, it made you feel more immersed into the universe. It's a dark, gritty, post apocalyptic universe. You want it to be violent. I feel like if Gears of War wasn't violent, it wouldn't have been as good. But at the same time, it's not just good because of violence, if that makes sense. It just made it more immersive. The weapons were awesome. The characters, you fell in love with them. And there were some characters that you really hated, I mean, I didn't hate Baird, but Baird was, complaining, whining, but at the same time, you knew he had your back. But then there's characters like Aaron Griffin, even though he was in one game, you hated his guts. You wanted Marcus to kill him so bad. And it was just, there was such good writing, such good character development. It was such an awesome universe. I love Gears of War. It's hard to explain. That's why I'm trying my best. But yeah, I was religiously into Gears 3 multiplayer. Played it all the time. And the fact that every game added new weapons that were awesome was also really cool. Like Gears 2 added, the Scorcher and the Mulcher and the Blade. And Gears 3 added the Digger, which is way better than the Drop Shot. The One Shot, the Mortar in Gears 2, that's one of my... I love the Mortar. I know it's a little OP, but it's awesome. Same with the Hammer of Dawn. I love using it, but it's OP, I'm not gonna lie. And I just feel like Gears took... It was easy to play, hard to master, if that makes sense. It was harder to be good at Gears of War than it was Call of Duty, I feel like. And that's why I loved it so much. Outplaying people in Gears of War with like wall bouncing and good movement and here's an example. I go in and fake I'm gonna hit the wall, and the guy jumps over the wall, and I just wait for him to land and blam, shoot him with my shotgun. Like it was so rewarding to outsmart people in that game. The Lancer, the chainsaw was awesome. The curb stomp execution is iconic. And then came Gears of War Judgment. I was very excited for it at the time. And then I went to go get it at a midnight release at GameStop. Very disappointed. They try to make it too much like Call of Duty, the multiplayer especially. It It just wasn't the same. There was some good things about Judgment. The campaign was okay. The breach shot is one of my all-time favorite weapons. I wish they would bring that back so badly. The breach shot was awesome. But gosh, they tried to make it like Call of Duty so much. You had loadouts, the way you threw grenades and stuff, the way you switched weapons. There was no downing anymore. They just immediately died, which was stupid. Because it kind of took away, the excitement of trying to get that kill. Like, oh, I downed him. I have to go and try to flank him and get him. But then, you take the risk of being flanked or his teammates shooting at you. Judgment took that away because you can hip fire basically and get a kill because they just fall over. They're just like, ugh, they don't go down. The magnetic grenades were stupid when you threw it. If you don't know what that means, you throw a grenade, and if you're within a foot of it, it would just attach itself to you and get stuck to you and blow you up. There was a lot of OP things back then, and Judgment. The melee. Tell me you guys remember that melee. Everyone in Judgment was doing it. You hit them, they're stunned, can't move. You melee them, and then they're just stunned, can't move. And then you shoot them with a Gnasher. It was basically a free kill. They nerfed that, but then they had the stim grenades that were so overpowered. I remember people would throw them at their feet and just became invincible, basically. I remember me, my best friend at the time, were 1v2ing this guy, and he threw down a stem. We're lighting him up, and my little brother is shooting at him with a Lancer. We're lighting him up, and he still beat me and my best friend. The stim gas was so overpowered. I did like the campaign, though. The overrun mode was okay. Wasn't as good as beast mode, in my opinion. I know this is why I love Gears of War, and I'm sitting here saying that Judgment was a disappointment, but I still liked it. I still played it a lot. It was nowhere near as good as the original trilogy. Gears of War 4 came out. And by the way, me and my brother, I keep mentioning my brother because we've beaten every single Gears of War. When I got with my wife, I also took her through the Gears of War games. But me and my brother were the ones that beat every single Gears of War games first before I beat them with anyone else. So that's like a special thing between us. Gears 4 came out. I was very excited for it. I remember my wife surprising me by getting me the Gears of War 4 Xbox One, the Xbox One S, which came with the Ultimate Edition of the game and, the controller, the console. It was awesome. Gears of War 4 did redeem itself a little bit from Judgment, but they didn't. JD was fine, Kate was okay, Del was okay. I feel like if they gave us more time to get attached with these characters, build them up a little more, it would have been better. But the campaign was pretty good. Multiplayer was pretty good. It was better than Judgment, but the weird red jello chunks. What was up with that? Why did they go from the realistic violence and gore? I don't want to say realistic because clearly Gears of War was over the top, But the weird red jello chunks was just such a weird decision. And then the swarm. That just felt like a slap in the face. Everything we went through in the original trilogy, just for them to come back alive. They're basically the Locusts, right? They call them the Swarm. They try to say they're different, but they're not. You find that out in Gears 5. That was just a slap in the face, It's like we went through all that in those games just for them to come back. Not gonna lie. The cliffhanger ending, though, on Gears 4 was like, what? When you see Queen Myr's necklace that Kate has. That was crazy. Not gonna lie. That made me excited for Gears 5. I played a lot of the multiplayer in Gears 4. I was still very into it. I still love Gears of War to this day. It's very special to me. I hate on Gears of War 5, but I still play it, every once in a while. It's Gears of War. But Gears 5, it's the worst game in the series, in my opinion. The over the top. I'm okay with the movement, but like some of the weird angles that you can shoot people with the Gnasher shotgun is so ridiculous. You can literally shoot out of your ass. And it's just And they stayed with the red Jello chunks, even though people complained about that in Gears of War 4. People might say that's a minor thing, but like it just takes you out of the immersion because it looks so stupid. It was just red Jello chunks and just I don't know. I didn't like it. And then the campaign, the worst in the series. I don't care what anyone says. Gears 5 campaign is the worst in the series. Kate, they all of a sudden make JD a war criminal, and it's like, well, that came out of nowhere. That's why. Why not have them build the bond between, JD, Kate, and Dell? Why split us up and have us play as Kate now? And just, no one liked Kate. I'm sorry to say it, but no one liked Kate. She just wasn't that interesting besides her background. And that's, I don't know. I didn't like her personality. I hated the semi open world parts and having to backtrack, and it just didn't feel like Gears of War. And that's why they took Of War out and just called it Gears 5. They tried to turn it into something it was not. The new weapons that they introduced were okay. The drop shot was just another free kill like the boom shot. At least the Digger took some skill. The drop shot does not. Um, the M bar is pretty cool. The SMG was OP. But all that said, I still loved Gears of War. I still played it a lot. I still play it to this day every once in a while. Nowhere near as much as I played the other games. Not even as much as I played Gears Judgment or Gears 4. There's just something about... And then the Battle Pass system. Why can't you just level up and get stars by playing the game? Why did you have to do certain modes, do certain things? It was stupid. Nobody liked it. It took forever to finally level up through it. I mean, yeah, it should be a challenge, but at the same time, I want to play multiplayer. I don't want to sit on Horde all the time. I don't want to play Escape all the time. I know you guys are asking, how does this mean you love Gears of War? So, even through all that... Sorry, got a phone call. Anyway, even through all that, I still love Gears of War. It's like if they make these small tweaks, like make the movement more like Gears of War 3, maybe Gears of War 4, where you can't shoot these crazy stupid angles that you should never be able to. Also, they made the Lancer way too overpowered. I know people complain, oh, well, they have to counter shotguns. That's not. In Gears of War 3, you can counter Master Shotgun users because it had stopping power. But in Gears of War 4 and 5, like 3 or 4 bullets from the Lancer and you're almost down. You have to hit cover. The Lancers were so overpowered. If they just made a few tweaks to Gears 4 or 5, they would have been amazing games, especially Gears 5. Anyway, back to why I love Gears of War. It's just the atmosphere, the characters, the multiplayer. The way the multiplayer plays is very unique. No other game plays like that. Call of Duty, Battlefield, all the other military shooters out there, they're the run-of-the-mill military shooters. I still play Call of Duty, I'm not going to lie. It's a guilty pleasure game. I play it almost every night with my brother and my friends. It's fun to just pick up and play it. But Gears of War was just a special kind of game. It's very unique. It felt different playing Gears of War than any other shooter. To this day, it's way different. The atmosphere, like I said, dark, gritty. They kind of got away from that a little bit. I wish they'd go. It looks like Gears of War E-Day is going back to that. So E-Day, not gonna lie, because me and my brother were watching the showcase, and when they showed E-Day, and I was like, oh, I was worried they were gonna do a Gears 6, because the direction Gears 5 was going in made me not excited for Gears of War 6. I just wasn't excited. But then when I seen young Marcus, I was like, oh, awesome. I was hoping this wasn't a flashback. Like a flashback mission or something in Gears 6. But then when, the trailer kept going, I was like, okay, this looks like a prequel. And then I realized this is going to be E-Day. And then, Marcus is fighting the drone, and they show an up close of Marcus blowing the drone's head off. First of all, they're going back to more dark, gritty horror, right? Because the Locust was beaten up on Marcus. They're making the Locust scary again. They're also going back to the more realistic, better violence and gore. Because they, particularly after he blew his head off, they zoomed in to show you, hey, we are going back to classic Gears of War. And then when Marcus is falling down the E-hole and that hand caught him, I was like, it's Dom. And my wife started crying. My brother was like, no way. I'm not going to lie. Got a little teared up. It was emotional. I've been playing Gears of War for, what is this, 18 years or something like that? Or like 15, whatever. And it was just, we haven't seen Dom in a story mode in so long. And so it was very emotional. And the fact that they're going back to a more classic, dark, gritty, scary, maybe not scary, but horror type, violent, and then reuniting Marcus and Dom, I feel like is what Gears of War needs right now. And then also the fact that they emphasized Gears of War E-Day. Not Gears E-Day, Gears of War. I'm glad they brought back Of War. I know us Gears fans, just to make it easy, we say Gears. But them taking Gears of War out in Gears 5 and just putting Gears 5 just meant they were changing and not for the better. I'm very, very excited for a new Gears of War game. I will always play Gears of War, even if I don't like it that much. I'm not going to sit here and say, I mean, there's a reason Gears 5 dropped out of the top 15 most played games on Xbox after only a week at launch. And it was an Xbox exclusive and free on Game Pass, and it dropped out of the top 15 most played games after only 1 week. There's a reason for that. I'm not going to sit here and say I hate it, it's unplayable. It's just disappointing. I still love Gears. I still play it all the time. The multiplayer's still fun. It's just there's some frustrating, stupid things in it. I'm very excited for Gears of War to come back. This game is very special to me. It made me and my brother... me and my brother are like best friends, right? And this made it even more because we played campaign together all the time. Me and my wife play the campaign all the time. She wants to go through them all again. And, because the E-Day is coming up. It's just up there with Mortal Kombat. A new Gears of War game gets me so excited. I can't wait to see the story mode, even if it's a little disappointing. I don't think E-Day is going to be disappointing. I can't wait to dive into the multiplayer, see how the mechanics work, the new weapons. I hope they bring in new weapons, or at least bring back classics like the Digger, bring back the Breach Shot, maybe the Mortar and stuff like that. Even if the Mortar's only for a campaign, I still want to use it. But yeah, I also want them to go back to you earn things by doing kills, revives, playing a certain amount of matches to unlock characters instead of a battle pass. I hated that. Or loot boxes like in Gears 4 and Judgment. I'd much rather earn it by playing the game. If you had a Cantus, if you guys don't remember Gears of War 3, if you had the Cantus, that means you had, I think it was 1,500 revives. And you had the Cantus, that just means you played the game that much. If you had, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember another rare character. What's the character you get for the headshots? Oh, the Locust Sniper. You had to get so many headshots to get that character. It was just felt more rewarding. It was way cooler. I want them to have that system, but at the same time have cool characters like Zombie Carmine. Zombie Carmine is so cool. Being able to play as the Lambent Locust and stuff like that was awesome. Anyway, Gears of War is just very special to me. I wanted to make a video about why I love Gears and why I'm going to integrate it into my channel. I'm going to be playing a lot of Gears of War coming up soon. I'm gonna do videos to see if someone who used to play religiously and used to hit the top rank, if I can get back into it and hit the top rank again. Um, I'll be live streaming it probably, see how far I can get. Play some horde mode with my brother and stuff. Maybe I'll probably stream the campaigns, hopefully. The only problem with that is I'm the only one with an Xbox. My brother doesn't have an Xbox or anything, so I don't know how we would stream the campaigns. I don't really want to play split screen. I know we played split screen back in the day, but playing split screen now is just, it's weird. I'll probably just have to do that. I don't know what else to do. Because my brother's not going to go out and buy an Xbox just to replay the old games. Well, maybe he will, because he seems excited for E-Day. He might just get it on his PC, though. We'll see. Anyway, Gears of War is very special to me. I love Gears of War. Very few games. I love gaming, but very few games get me as excited as a new Mortal Kombat, new Gears of War. Yeah, so I'm excited. I hope you guys are excited of me bringing more Gears content. Like I said, I'll still be doing Mortal Kombat content. This isn't the end of Mortal Kombat content. I just, like I said in my last video, I have to take a break. Mortal Kombat 1, I know they just had a recent patch, and there was some buffs in there, because I know I complain about nerfs a lot, but it just wasn't enough. They didn't change enough besides nerfing Peacemaker to make me want to play the game right now. So I'm still gonna take a break and play Gears of War, but I will still be doing how to counter or how to punish guides and stuff like that for Mortal Kombat. But like I said, gonna be playing some Gears soon. I hope you guys are excited for that. If you are, please like, subscribe, comment, let me know. And yeah, that's why I love Gears of War. It's a very special game to me. It's, you know, it's just a very special game to me. That's all I can say. I loved this game. Been playing it for damn near 20 years. I'm excited for the future. And yeah, Gears is alive and back. So many people are streaming it again, and some of the older games, multiplayer's back, like Ultimate Edition. Which, by the way, I didn't talk about that. Ultimate Edition, in my opinion, is one of the best remasters ever. They rebuilt it from the ground up while still staying faithful to the original. It's amazing. You should play it. But yeah, this is why I love Gears of War. I know I talked about some disappointing games, but even though they were disappointing, still loved them, still played them. But yeah, that's why I love Gears of War. So I will see you all next time.